Week 11 in the National Football League, folks. You are watching World of Matchups, live and direct from Las Vegas Handicapping Podcast. My name is Dexter Reed. On the other side of the glass, my A1 from day one, bringing the heat as always, and producer of WOM. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, Spencer the Wiz. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Week 11.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. I always like to reminisce about that. I remember we spent a lot of time looking for that song. I mean, we were going through like pages of music to find that. I
Yeah.
think it's great. I think we picked a really good soundtrack for that
Yeah,
intro.
man. Yeah, it's fun, you know what I mean? Keeps it
Yeah,
light, gets you bouncing and ready to talk about handicapping some football games. We've been doing well lately, last
I was
two
gonna say.
weeks.
I think we had another good week last week.
Another
The
good
morning slate
week.
was a little shaky, but in the afternoon we like cleaned
The
house.
last 2 weeks, we haven't missed on the afternoon slate, not one game. 10
It's
wins the
crazy.
week before, 9 wins last week, 8 weeks,
My
eight
parlay
for
was
you.
money too.
Parlay was
Absolute
money.
money.
My buddy did really well. Shout out AG Magic. I just got to plug him real quick, man. If you guys are looking for somebody to handicap football games, I'm telling you, this is the guy. He's been so hot lately. 14 out of 15 against the spread last week. I made more money last week with him than I have all season. Just putting that out there. Spencer and I do this for fun. He does it for fun, but man, he cleans up. So shout out AG Magic. Let's get to the slate, Spencer. Let's not waste any more time. Set it off.
Yeah, a very interesting game to start things out. I mean, I guess it should be interesting. It's the Chicago Bears. They're at home playing against the Packers. I mean, we're kind of right on top of it here with the Bears, and if I'm not mistaken, they let go of their offensive staff, like related to play calling. I don't know if that's going to fix anything. Their problems start at the offensive line. We knew this going into Justin Fields, and I remember talking about this before the season started. They have a terrible offensive line, and they got all these receivers. There is plenty of offensive linemen for them to take instead of Roma Dunze. And I remember on draft night, I'm just like, I know Roma Dunze is there, and I know how enticing it is, but it's like, you're really good on offense. I mean, they were loaded up before the Roma Dunze pick, and everyone's like, this is the cherry on top. But, the reality of the situation is there is only one football to be thrown on every play. You know what I mean? It's like, and take a look at the Bengals too, by the way, the problems they're having with multiple like number one receivers. But beyond all of that, you have an offensive line that can't even get him the ball. So you can have, prime Dwayne Bowe and, any other Hall of Fame Randy Moss on the other side. If you don't have time to throw the ball, what's the point, And that's the problem that they're running into here, like big time. And now they're playing, against Green Bay. And I remember I just looked at this line a couple seconds ago. It's really close. And I know it's like a big matchup and you kind of expect it to be. I feel like the under is probably the real winner here too, by
Mm-hmm.
the way. But
Green Bay
it's
-5.
yeah. And I'm going to take it. I mean, Green Bay's defense is going to get after them. I mean, if you want to talk about a bad matchup when it comes to the trenches, this is terrible for the Chicago Bears. They can't move the ball. So how am I going to expect them to do a backdoor cover here? Green Bay is going to be fired up as all hell. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's a special matchup for Jordan Love because the Packers have owned the Bears for so long. And just the way that the Bears are playing right now, I don't see that changing here in this matchup.
Neither do I, man. I know a lot of Bears fans personally. I work with like a bunch of guys, and they're just really like they're pulling their hair out because this is not what they expected. They expected by now this would be more of a real matchup. But the truth of the matter is the Bears are not good. The front office is not good. They've done a good job in the offseason putting the pieces together, but it really has not come to fruition at all. Keenan Allen's been a monumental, unmitigated disaster. He's a bum. The offensive line cannot block. They do not run Swift like they should. Eberflus is way over his head. Eberflus should not have been retained and brought back this year. And so the fall guy is the OC. It's an absolute joke. And honestly, this is humble pie for Caleb Williams. That's what this is, man. Coming in, talking about how he wants ownership in whatever
Yeah.
franchise drafts him. All this nonsense this guy was talking. He can't get out of his own way. Now, granted, he's a good quarterback. Everyone's going to look bad if you can't block for them. But they're really bad. That line is horrid. Both lines. Both lines. The strength of the Bears is their secondary. I think they're in big trouble here because the Packers, number one, have owned this matchup. I mean, Jordan Love is just going to be black Aaron Rodgers here. -5 on the road. Sounds like a lot, but the Bears have shown you absolutely nothing that will have you believing that this is going to turn around anytime soon. Back-to-back demolitions at the hands of Arizona, and then last week at home versus the Patriots. I mean, that is disgusting. How do you lose at home versus the Patriots? I mean, that's a really bad loss. This is as low as you can go, and things like this don't change overnight. Things like this change via draft and free agency. They don't like the coach. I'm not going to say they're going to lay down. I think they'll play with pride, but Green Bay is playing for something that the Bears are not. The Bears are playing for pride. Green Bay is playing to go to the playoffs and make noise. They are not the same. And so I'm going to lay the -5 as well. I'm going to lay it with confidence until the Bears show me something in the way of playing competent B- football. I can't take them anywhere. Go Pack, go.
I remember we talked about the Matt Eberflus hiring like in that moment a couple years
Remember
ago
when
on
we
the
talked
show.
about it in the
We were
studio?
just like, what are they
I'm like, who
doing?
is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
who the fook is Matt Eberflus? Get this guy out of there, bro.
It's crazy. He won't
Next.
survive the offseason. Let's talk about the Jaguars and Lions. This is a big spread, but oh man, it's a 14-point spread. That is an unbelievable amount. And I mean, the way that the Lions have been playing, minus last week, obviously, they have just like ran up the scoreboard and proven that they can. And I don't think Trevor Lawrence actually is playing this week. Is
No,
he?
Matt Jones is going to start.
Wow. It's like you have to take plus 14, but I guess I'm not. I mean, Mac Jones really is that bad. So we saw that last week. Mac Jones is atrocious. And yeah, I don't even know how long he'll last. I mean, I guess he'll just make it his career as a backup running or quarterback like everywhere, just like the Matt Barkleys of the world, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I mean, if Trevor Lawrence is playing this game, I'm definitely taking that plus 14. The backdoor cover would be great. But, the Lions definitely will not play that bad 2 weeks in a row. And we saw what happened last week with the Jaguars. I mean, they're just Trevor Lawrence, I guess, what really was the only thing keeping them afloat, like at all, I suppose. And well, I guess I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, it was like what 12-7 or something in that game. So it's like against the Vikings. It's like, man, that's so enticing, but I don't know. The Lions literally can put up 45 points if you don't sleep. You know what I mean? And Mac Jones is good for a couple interceptions. And, the Lions are going to convert on those opportunities. Now, Sam Laporta is out. So that's certainly a factor because he's kind of been coming on a little bit here. But I'm just not betting on Mac Jones. I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen for me in 2024.
Yep, I hear what you're saying. And it's a viable case that you're laying down. But I'm not betting on Mac Jones. I'm betting on the Jacksonville Jaguars. My new valuable soldiers.
They are, man.
Who every week I sit here and tell you guys, and I'm sure none of you listen because you don't have balls to lay it. The last 3 weeks, the Jacksonville Jaguars have covered versus the Minnesota Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Green Bay Packers. These are all playoff teams. Guys, 14 is disrespectful. I'm sorry. This is a man's game. And at the end of the day, yes, these guys are shooting up for paychecks, but there's a thing called pride that is real. And I'm sorry, man. The Lions did not look good last week. Sure, they might bounce back at home, but every single year, every single team has one of those games where they just don't show up. They just don't play well when they're supposed to steamroll a team. And they cover for me week in and week out. This is 3 straight weeks versus 3 playoff teams, guys. I'm taking them until they don't cover for me. I'm sorry. Anything can happen in football. The ball bounces 1 inch the wrong way, and it's a cover. Kickoff return, strip sack. Jared Goff was awful last week. You don't think they're going to try to throw the house at Jared Goff? He was horrendous. I'm sorry. Jacksonville's back end is better than people think. Andre Cisco hits as hard as anybody. They still have Josh Allen. They're not horrible. The problem with this team is their offense can't score no points. Trevor Lawrence is hurt. Christian Kirk is out. I mean, they're missing major pieces. You know, Etienne has not been good. Bigsby is out. But me, it's next man up if you're giving me 14 points, and I've sat in this chair, and I've said it for almost a month. I'm trying to go for a full month here with my new valuable soldiers and let them cover this 14. Y'all aren't going to hear the end of my voice next week. Duval.
All right. A game. Oh boy, it's the Raiders. They go to Miami. This is another short line. I wanted to put this on my teaser ticket, truthfully, but I hate betting against my favorite team, so I decided to keep it off. But it's -7, and I guess you can also say, well, look, the Miami Dolphins have not played well since Tua came back. Plain and simple, right? Like it hasn't been what everybody kind of imagined it to be, where it's like, okay, they're going to get back on track and make a little run here. They've been bad. But they're also playing a very bad team. And the fact that the Raiders are coming off a bye literally does not matter, okay? Because the Raiders last week, off a bye under Antonio Pierce, put up 0 points at home. 0 points, actually. I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. So, no, I was going to say, was it against the Dolphins? It wasn't. But the Raiders never beat the Dolphins, too, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if this was up there on that little streak from Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, you can go down the list from over the last few years. The Raiders, just for some reason, they can't beat them, and it drives me insane. But, yeah, the Raiders are just they're in free fall right now, obviously. And it's sad because there's actually a pretty half decent roster, in my opinion. A lot of really good pieces. I mean, it just feels like they're a coach and a quarterback away, and that just seems to fix all your problems. Because let's be honest, I mean, any team that's 2-7 is going to seem like it's falling apart. But it's like if you had a quarterback, and like everyone's going to forget all of these problems really quick. It's like a lot of these games the Raiders have lost are literally just a quarterback away. I mean, they have lost games solely from the play of their quarterbacks. And otherwise, everyone would be really high on this team, in my opinion. So we'll see. I actually haven't heard any news about the Raiders quarterback situation.
Minshew
And I'm
starting.
Yeah, okay. And I think that's actually kind of a shame. I think Desmond Ritter deserves a chance, if I'm being honest, because Minshew's just been terrible. He's bad. It's like you're not getting anything else. It's not to say Desmond Ritter is going to, like suddenly stop the Raiders from drafting a quarterback, but if he stays on the team, he plays really hard. It's like, you like a backup quarterback like that, a guy who is really fighting for this chance to like pretty much stay in the NFL. And it was like kind of interesting watching him play last week. Had a decent throw to Brock Bowers. So like I'd like to see like the potential to have him at the backup, especially if the Raiders are targeting in on Shadur Sanders. Very similar levels of play. I'm not going to say obviously they're the same player or anything like that, but when you have a backup quarterback, you like to have like translatable ones. You don't want to have a quarterback that has a completely different play style. You see that all over the league. Like Baltimore had Huntley for a long time. He wasn't Lamar Jackson, but that kind of archetypal quarterback. In any case, I mean, I just don't like the Raiders here. I know their defense has been like really played so hard to keep the Raiders in all these games. So it's like 7 points seems like a lot, but I just have no faith in Antonio Pierce right now. And that's a shame. I wanted to give him my full 100% chance. And I liked the idea, I guess. It's just, he fell so flat on getting a good offensive coordinator there. And that's part of being a head coach, is like building a staff. And if you can't do that, then what are you really doing there? Because you obviously have no idea about the X's and O's. It's like your job is to build an incredible team around you to fill in the gaps for you. And he just didn't do that. It's like he lucked into Patrick Graham. In fact, I'd honestly love to see an AP get fired at some point and just let's see what Patrick Graham looks like as a head coach. All the guys love them. He survived multiple regimes because he's so good at his job. You know what I mean? So I think honestly, when they fired McDaniels, I don't like what they did. It was a very spur of the moment thing. I think Patrick Graham legitimately deserves a chance to be a head coach. And if you can bring in, I feel like if he was the head coach, I feel like you can convince Kingsbury to stay on the team. And I just feel so much more confident about this team. It's like this. They're not going to be able to score points, like they have no play caller to like make that happen. Mid-season changes at coordinator is such a disaster, in my opinion. It never works out. It makes things worse. I don't think they should have fired Luke Getsy in the middle of the season, in my opinion, but here we are. So yeah, I'm taking Miami, and I'm taking them with confidence, actually.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami as well. The Raiders have been an unmitigated disaster for years. To me, it's the curse of Rich Bisaccia, who got a raw deal, and you've just never been the same. You're just plugging in pieces who sound good from all over the league, recycled parts. McDaniels, AP is nothing but a rah-rah guy. He's the guy you bring into the locker room before you go out and play and get everyone fired up. His X's and O's are absolutely horrendous. I've told you this multiple times now. This is no secret. The Raiders are putting Minshew out there because they're putting the guys out there who are going to give them the best chance to lose, because Shador Sanders is already like being thirsty to be drafted by the Raiders, and we already know that Dion will push to make it happen.
Dion might be the head coach of the Raiders next year.
Exactly. The Raiders are already looking towards 2026, 2025. Tom Brady's going to help them get that ship right.
And they should be.
There's no reason, like there's no motivation to try to win. You know what I mean? Winning only hurts you right now. It really does.
Everything is falling in place for the Raiders, by the way.
It's all falling apart.
Picture perfect, like for the draft order for them. They have just been sliding up
just
slowly
keep
but surely.
Losing, and you'll get that number one pick. You should be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan if you're a Raider fan. You want the Jags to win. You know what I mean? You want them to be my valuable soldiers.
Because the Patriots are fine because
the Patriots got May. You want a team out there who does need a quarterback to be the number one pick, and that's the Raiders. I mean, it's sad because you're wasting prime years of Max Crosby, who it just sucks to watch. You hate to see it.
Yeah, but you can see how quickly things can turn around.
Things turn around very fast in the NFL with the right pieces, and the Raiders have to put themselves in position
they are
have
close.
the right
They're
pieces.
Way closer than people think.
But this week, you know what I mean? Like versus a Miami Dolphin team coming off a huge win at LA. I mean, I was completely wrong about that. The defense played fantastic in that game. They're gonna come home and they're gonna get fat on the Raiders. I mean, what's the Raiders' motivation? Zamir White's a bum. Madison is absolutely mid. Jacoby Myers is okay, but they got no one that could get him the ball. And literally, they have the worst quarterback room in the entire NFL. Like how anyone could take the Raiders here with any kind of confidence is joking themselves based on what they're trying to do. Literally, it's just tank baby. That's what it is right now. Just play well enough to show promise and lose the game. The Raiders should lose every game moving forward. You have no reason to try to win. You're horrible. So just be horrible and lick your wounds and come back next year. Fire everyone. Fire AP immediately. AP sucks, dude. I'm sorry. You guys think he's great. He's horrible, man. That guy's terrible. I mean, it started game one with not going for the field goal, and it hasn't ended since. Fins up. It's going to be nice out in Miami tomorrow. They should smash the Raiders. -7. I'm not scared of it all. Next.
We have the Rams visiting New England. New England's really tough team to call, man. Really, really tough. It's only a 4.5-point spread. Sounds about right, actually.
Not tough for me. They've been winning for me. They're my other value. They're my valuable soldiers 2.0.
We were big time on the Patriots last week, so they play really hard. You know what? You really can't take that away from them. They play really, really tough. So credit where credit's due, obviously. But I don't know. In this spot, I do like the Rams. I think they're just a very desperate football team, and I can't see them struggling on offense that bad 2 weeks in a row. Even though they're playing obviously a very good defensive team, I feel like this is one of those weeks where they just put on one of their best performances. I really would be shocked to see back-to-back weeks where they're just playing flat like that. I mean, there really isn't too much to say about this because what can you say about the Patriots other than that they're a scrappy team? But I could see the math working out a little bit here to where they end up covering this game because they're going to put up a lot of points, and I'm just not sure the Patriots are going to be able to keep up.
I'm taking the Pats. Taking the Pats again. Pats they've been showing me some love because I've been showing them some love. And the Pats are a perfect example of what you get when you have a franchise quarterback that you could somewhat protect. And literally, like Drake May, in my mind, should have started from day one. This Jacoby Brissett nonsense, that was one of the few mistakes that I think Mayo has made so far. But ever since he called his team out for being soft, whether it was the right move or the wrong move, or Bill Belichick or me or anyone else, Spencer included, agrees with it, it has worked. It has worked. And they're going to be at home in Foxborough. It's going to be cold. Rams are a dome team. Matthew Stafford is an absolute statue. And they have got a defense that can control Cup, Nakua, and Williams. I think they'll do enough to cover. I don't know if they'll win, but I don't need them to win here. I need them to cover 4.5 points, and they have been covering for me. I like the future of the New England Patriots here. Now, I don't love the coach, but Drake May is a baller. If they give Drake May T. Higgins, watch out. I'm telling you guys, man, don't sleep on the Patriots. Hunter Henry is serviceable. Ramondre Stevenson can move chains. All I need you to do is keep this game close, and their defense is always good. The fact that their offensive line is playing better, you're seeing it. You are seeing it, and Drake May can take off too, man. These are all underrated things about this Patriot team that no one wants to really give them credit for because when they win, they beat bad teams. But bad teams beating bad teams make them better teams. So you're seeing the Patriots get better every week, guys. You're not seeing Chicago get better every week. You're not seeing the Jets get better every week. You're seeing the Patriots get better every single week. And this is a home game in November versus a team that does not like to be outside. Give me those 4.5 points, and I'm taking the Patriots with confidence. I was so on the Rams last week, and they were horrendous at home in their own building versus a soft Dolphins team. Next.
All right, we have the Browns going to New Orleans. Yeah, Derek Carr really is a soldier for the Raiders, even on the Saints, because he takes a terrible loss to the Panthers and then he wins to get the Saints to slide up another spot because the Saints have to still be thinking about a quarterback. I mean, come on. They'd be crazy not to, at least in my opinion. Everyone's like, they got to see what they have in Spencer Rattler. I'm sorry, but absolutely not. He's like, there's no way you can roll into another season because then you end up like the Raiders. You know what I mean? Where you have Aiden O'Connell. You're like, man, is this late draft pick really going to develop? It's like, no, there's a reason these guys were drafted where they were. This is you know what? I'm just going to take the Saints here because what can you really say about these two terrible teams? But you know what? The Saints are valuable soldiers at home. If I'm getting to pick them, and really, I may end up making another teaser ticket and like taking that +6 for the Saints because what are the Browns just going to go into New Orleans and like blow them out of the water? This is a field goal game written all over it. You know what I mean? It's like
So pick 'em.
I could even see a 20-10 finish, for the Saints. Just something lame and stupid and just a game you're not going to see on the Red Zone channel all too often. How are the Browns going to move the ball? Like all of those things I think come into factors. You know what? I've done this to myself and I got burned before, obviously, taking the Saints is my best bet. But you know what? I am just going to go ahead and convert this to be my best bet. The Saints at home is when they play the best. The Browns are not good. The Saints defense is going to cause some turnovers. Jameis Winston's good for 2 picks in this game. Here I am, but I'm going to take the Saints here. And like I said, I'm going to make them my best bet.
I'm taking the Browns. I don't trust the Saints. I don't care that they showed up and beat the Falcons last week. I really don't. That's more on the Falcons than it is what the Saints did. I'm sorry. You think MVS is going to explode for 2 50-yard touchdowns again? That's never going to happen in this game. Browns have a good defense. Myles Garrett's still on the Browns. Nick Chubb is getting more and more each week. Jameis is a turnover machine, yes, but they have the better options to deal with. Njoku, Tillman has been coming on. Judy's kind of a bum, but he's still more than serviceable. Dude, besides Alvin Kamara, if anything happens to Alvin Kamara, how are they going to move the ball? Seriously, like, how are they going to move the ball? Who do they have? Like, everyone is hurt. Chris Olave is dead. I mean, like, literally, like, the backup running back is out. Like, they have nothing behind there. I mean, they're a bad team. I know they played well last week. I just don't trust it to happen 2 weeks in a row, man. I just really don't. I have no faith in the Saints at all. To me, they're just a mess. Like, literally, think about what we would be saying about the Saints this week if Atlanta actually played the game they were supposed to play. We'd be talking about them as the worst team in the league. In the league. Carolina is better to me. I have no faith in what's happening there. They're injured. Dennis Allen has been fired. Nothing about, Carr to me is the worst red zone quarterback of all time. I don't trust him. Literally, if Carr doesn't close his eyes and throw it up as far as he can, he's a useless quarterback to me. Those 2 touchdowns were gifts. They're not happening again this week. MVS is a bum. Trust me, I'm a Chief fan, guys. I know all about MVS. I don't see it happening 2 weeks in a row. And if it does, they'll shut me up and I'll be shocked. It's a pick 'em. Give me those Browns on the road. I think the defense will win the game. Next.
All right, we have the Ravens going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is getting a field goal in this game. I like Pittsburgh in this game big time. The Ravens just don't overall impress me like at all. Now I know they're 7-3, but Steelers are 7-2, and their defense is just as steady as a river. Like, you know what I mean? They just don't miss a beat, really. They always come together at the most important times. And I just think the Ravens get caught a little bit here. I think Lamar Jackson probably has his worst game of the season. And when you have division games and there's two good teams and you're getting a field goal for the home team, it's way too enticing. You know what I mean? And Wilson had a great throw last week. He's getting a little bit better. They prove that they should have benched Justin Fields at this point. I feel like it's very justified in my opinion. So yeah, this one, it's like you can almost like put the same script on these matchups when it comes to the AFC North every week. You know, you just say the same things, like because they're always so close. You know, like it doesn't matter what year it is or who's. I guess say who's coach, but most of these teams have the same coach for a long time, and that division's very stable. You know, like it doesn't matter what the rosters are. Like even like Ryan Mallett. You remember that game all those years ago where he got signed up off the street, and it still was they won the game. It was that close. You know, it's like it's just the AFC North. That's just how it's defined. So I feel like it's very, you get that maybe you buy an extra half point for the Steelers, like so you can get that cover on the +3.5. I could definitely see something like that happening, but I'm definitely taking the Steelers here.
Dude, I love Pittsburgh this week. Love. The Pittsburgh Steelers are my best bet. I am not a believer in the Baltimore Ravens simply because their defense is trash. The defense is not good, guys. It's not good. You guys think it's good? It's not good. The Ravens defense that you guys are thinking about, that Ray Lewis Ravens, it doesn't exist. It's a myth. Okay? They got absolutely carved up at home by Joe Burrow. Sliced and diced. And I know it's a Jamar Chase generational performance, so don't get me wrong. But their cornerbacks and safeties are garbage, dude. George Pickens is coming on. At home, the Steelers have literally one of the best home field advantages in the entire sport. Mike Tomlin lives for these games. This black and blue division, this is always a 3-point win. Always. If I'm you, I'm doing what Spencer said, and I'm buying that half point. Or if you're scared, just Steelers money line. This is the type of game where Lamar will get his, but he's not going to get his like crazy. The defensive player of the year is on the other side of that ball. Worries me that Alex Highsmith is out. Or hurting. I don't know if he will play. I think he is out. But they're coming on in Pittsburgh, man. And Pittsburgh gets special teams touchdowns. They get special teams scores. They get production from their ancillary players. And I think they're just going to run Najee Harris into the ground. I know Jalen Ward is a little banged up. I don't think it matters here because this is going to be a defensive struggle. The real winner here is the under because there's a 13-10 written all over it. Okay, let it be cold or inclement in any way, shape, or form. They're going to keep Lamar down tomorrow. I really feel that. And this is the type of game where if I see the Ravens go in there and blow Pittsburgh out, I'm on the Ravens train. But I haven't seen it. Okay, I mean, I know Lamar's going to win his third MVP here, barring a miraculous, ascension from another player in this league, like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. But I'm not seeing it. Maybe Barkley. We know it's a quarterback-driven, award, but that defense tomorrow, man, I'm telling you, that Pittsburgh defense is going to be hungry. And I'd love the Steelers to win this game outright. I think that the Steelers are not getting the respect that they deserve because they play ugly, they win ugly, and there's no real studs on that team. But you mark my words, George Pickens is going to make some plays tomorrow that are going to turn heads. Steelers win this game at home, minus the points, money line, under, all of it equates to a steak and lobster dinner here at World of Matchups. Best bet.
All right, we have Minnesota going to Tennessee. Wow. This is a game that's hard to call for me.
Not me.
The Vikings are 6-point favorites. Tennessee's terrible, right? I don't know. It's just like the Vikings had such a dud game against Mac Jones. I know they won the game, but
I told you. I'm going to keep beating my chest about Jacksonville until you guys shut me up. I told you. Everything I said about, go back and watch what I said about Minnesota last week. It came to fruition like I had a crystal ball.
I guess I don't know. I just can't bet on the Titans, Like I was on the Chargers. That was a good bet, Will Levis is just not good, and they just keep trotting him out there, and they're another one of those teams that's like it feels like they're a quarterback away. Like they're better than they really are, because they have a really decent roster. TJ Hawkinson's back, It's like I know the Tennessee Titans are at home. It almost feels like a toss up to me, and I'm just going to take the Vikings. I don't know. I feel like they don't score 12 points like 2 weeks in a row. I feel like there's a real chance that they could put up, like 25 plus. And am I really betting on the Tennessee Titans to score, like close to 20 points in this game? I don't think so, especially because Minnesota's defense has, obviously played very well this year. So not a game I'm exactly passionate about to the point where it's like, okay, if I'm going to put this on a teaser ticket, I like the pick 'em for the Vikings. You know what I mean? But like at the 6-point mark, I'm like, I don't know. But I guess I'll take it. I just don't like the Tennessee Titans at all. I feel like they're a bad football team.
They are a bad football team, but styles make fights. Upset special. I'm taking the Titans. I'm taking them +6. Will Levis got a game under his belt, played okay. Tony Pollard can run the ball. They can control some clock here. And that Titans defense is very, very good. They just have not been able to score all year long. The Minnesota Vikings are fraudulent. They remind me of the 13-3 team that allowed Daniel Jones to go into their house and win a playoff game. That's what they remind me of. You couldn't go on the road and score more than 12 points versus Jacksonville. Really? And you expect me to -6 versus Tennessee? Also on the road? Tennessee is better than Jacksonville. By a lot, in my mind. By a lot. They got better defense. They got better everything except the Super Bowl winning head coach they have in Jacksonville. I think this is a trap game and a half, dude. Guys, this is a hole in the street waiting for you to fall in. Everyone's going to be like, how are Minnesota going to not cover 6? They can win this game by 2 touchdowns. I don't think so. Jay Jettis has had a quiet year, man. He has. Let's be honest about the facts. Okay? It's to take emotion out of it. Facts over feelings when it comes to the NFL and gambling, guys. Sure, every now and then you'll have a hunch, but look at the tape. Look at the facts. L'Jarius Sneed's going to be on Jettas. Last time he faced him, he was really good. And then Jets got hurt and was out for 7 weeks. I think that this is going to be a game where Tennessee is going to surprise some people. I think they have it in them to slow this purple people leader train down. And the biggest win here is the under because both defenses are going to be coming to play. I like the Titans +6. I'm not even taking them on a whim. I actually really believe that they could cover the 6 here.
All right, we have the ugliest game of the week, I think, by far. This is an awful game. It's the Indianapolis Colts. They go to New York. The Jets are -4.
How?
Anthony Richardson is coming back in this game.
How are the Jets favored versus anyone?
Yeah, I'm going to take the +4. And I
Me
know
too.
the Anthony Richardson situation is terrible, but I mean, God, the Jets are awful. It's like the Colts defense at the very least, is going to show up defensively, right? And it's like this is like almost a career defining game for Anthony Richardson. He's going to be playing as hard as humanly possible because, well, the Colts have managed this whole situation terribly.
Really badly.
Because when they sat him, it's like he's never playing for the rest of the season, no matter what. And it's like, okay, now he's starting again. Because they realize if you say that, that means his trade value is in the gutter because you've already outright said he's never playing again. So that means when someone calls, it's like you want all these draft picks, but you're not going to play him. And it's all they're like, oh crap, like in their mind, like that means we have to play this kid again, which they should have the entire time. So I know it like saying that makes it seem like how can this team like pull together a win? But like I said, Anthony Richardson, well, this is the game. He's going to play harder than he's ever had in his entire life. He's not going to say he's tired. He's going to go out there and just give it his all. And I think, the Colts defense is going to keep up with them. And like the idea that the Jets just win by a field goal, like, and I'm still covering, yeah, big time. And I think the Colts could just outright win this game.
I think the Colts can win this game too. The Jets are garbage, bro. I told you. I'm done. I bet the Jets versus Pittsburgh on the road under the lights a couple weeks ago, and they were absolutely putrid. And that would have solidified a humongous week for me. That would have solidified all 4 bets getting hit. And instead, I went 3-1, and that just pissed me off, man. And I make no bones about how much I hate Aaron Rodgers and the person he is. I can't stand the guy. He is my least favorite athlete of all time, I think. Of all time. You know how hard that is across all sports? I can't stand the guy. I can't stand the way he acts. I can't stand the way he holds hostage franchises. I can't stand how he's destroyed the Jets. He's destroyed this team. Aaron Rodgers literally has set the Jets back 5 years. And he's washed. He's immobile. He's not healthy. He turns the ball over right now. Colts are going to be playing hard as hell. Anthony Richardson, this might be the end of him this year in the NFL if he doesn't start winning. He's going to bring everything he has here. You're going to give me 4 points to boot? Stop. I don't trust the Jets. Devontae Adams is old too, man. I know he's still serviceable, but I'm not feeling it. Garrett Wilson is being freaking held hostage, and Breece Hall is not being used properly. The coach is gone. See, when you fire these coaches in season, Spencer, it's really hard to just maintain any kind of vision. You're firing season, like it just disrupts the flow of everything. Not that there was ever a flow to begin with. I mean, this is a team that went to Arizona last week and got their shit pushed all the way in. I have no love for the Jets. I'm enjoying watching them lose, quite frankly, because I hate Aaron Rodgers. I want to see Aaron Rodgers lose his way into retirement. That's what I want to see. And so I'm going to continue to bet against them. I really am. And I'm going to enjoy every second of this. And I'm a huge Colt fan tomorrow. I want Anthony Richardson to succeed, dude. I really do. I just think that they've handled this so poorly, so poorly in Indianapolis that it's almost inconceivable that they're still somewhat of a decent team. Old man Flacco was horrible, horrible. It's time for him to retire. I like Jonathan Taylor big in this game. Throw a couple deep shots to Alec Pierce and see what happens. I think the Colts defense mobs tomorrow, and I'm taking them +4. Even if the Jets win, they're not covering that 4. No way possible.
All right, let's switch over to the afternoon slate here. What do you say about the Falcons? They're going into Denver.
That was a horrible loss.
So bad.
Horrible loss. Inexcusable loss of the week. Horrendous. Inexcusable.
I really couldn't believe it, but and it's like, it's just so easy to take Denver here. Denver's favored by 2. They're at home.
Taking them. I'm taking them.
I'm going to take the Falcons. I really don't like the Broncos. And I just think that I just don't know. Like Atlanta has to have this game, plain and simple. I don't really know what the Broncos are playing for. They're just like a very mid team. And every time they've been pressured a little bit, they just collapse in those kinds of games. Like Atlanta, literally, it's like, I think it's just one of those cases of one of those divisional matchups where you just can't believe it. The outcome makes absolutely no sense at all. And I think you're going to see that here. I mean, I'm getting +2. I feel pretty confident. Maybe you buy an extra point or something like that if you really feel scared. But I really think the Falcons turn it on this week, and Kirk Cousins plays a lot better. And once they put up points, I just don't think that Denver, I do like the over in this game. It's 44. I think both of these teams are going to be scoring points here. I mean, the Falcons defense is just not very good. And the Denver Bronco defense doesn't exactly scare me either. So, especially if you tease this, you're getting over 38 points. That seems like a really good deal to me. In any case, yeah, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons here. I don't think they play bad back-to-back weeks like that.
I'm taking the Broncos, and I'm taking the Broncos with confidence. I watched that whole game last week where Kansas City was lucky to escape with a win, and they set the dogs loose. And what do you think they're going to do to Kirk Cousins, bro, who can't move? They're at home. They know they let one get away. It's piss and vinegar in Mile High Stadium tomorrow night. I'm not so sure that the Falcons are a good team, guys. I'm really not. You know what I mean? Like, when you have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, I feel like you should just be better. You should be better. You know what I mean? Justin Simmons. I mean, you have such good players. How in the world did you lose to the Saints last week? That is inexcusable for a team that literally is climbing the ladder of having people fear them and make it to the playoffs and make some noise. And this is an all-in year. You give Kirk Cousins the keys to Atlanta. How does that happen? I'm not sold. This is a hungry. Let me tell you something. The Broncos aren't far. They're not far away, man. Neither are the Chargers. The AFC West is on its way back. If the Raiders ever get there, I mean, I say the same thing every single year, and the Raiders never do anything. But if the Raiders ever get their act together, man, AFC West is going to be feared like it should be again because the Broncos are on their way back. Sean Payton has done a good job. Bo Nix deserves the respect that everybody was giving Caleb before the year. Bo Nix has come in. Bo Nix was supposed to be a third-round quarterback. He might be playing as well as any rookie quarterback right now. Go look right now at Bo Nix's. Siri, what are Bo Nix's stats this season? Bo Nix has played very well this year. Hey Siri, what are Bo Nix's numbers this year?
Okay, I found this on the web for what are Bo Nix's numbers this year.
I have to look this up because I feel like what I watched last week was not a rookie quarterback. Give me stats, you bums. Anyway, Siri, you're fired, Siri. You're fired.
Sorry, I don't understand.
You're fired. Understand that. Dude, I'm telling you, Mile High afternoon games, these are the types of games that I see the Broncos win. Surtain is going to be on London, who's got a hip pointer, and they're going to set the dogs loose on Kirk Cousins. And when you can kick that ball through mile high air, you can kick longer field goals that will win games. Coming off a loss that they didn't deserve to lose, they have had a hell of a week on special teams practice, and they are going to get right versus this Falcons team. I don't trust the Falcons at all here. Go Broncos.
All right, let's jump over to the next game. It's the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to San Francisco. Man, this is a 6.5-point favorite for the 49ers. They are at home, but that number seems way too big. Seattle always plays hard against the 49ers, I feel. These games are always close, and it's not like what have the 49ers done recently that makes you think that, they're going to start blowing teams out of the water? It's almost like they're begging you to take Seattle. I'm going to take them because there's a chance they can win this game. I mean, what are the 49ers have not looked good at any one point in the season. They always just string it along. Their wins are never really all that convincing, at least as of recent. I know Christian McCaffrey's back, but he was back last week, and they, again, not looking amazing. So when I think about it like that, and Seattle is just they are a hard team to call, I'll be honest, because they'll convince you that they're really good, and they'll have a really good performance, and they'll just put up an absolute stinker like in those Giants games. But I don't know. When you have a divisional game like this, I like taking all those extra points for a team that could finagle their way into a win, I think.
Maybe. Real quick, Bo Nix, 2,000 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. Quarter QBR is not great, okay? But you can't tell me he's not doing better than anybody else out there as a rookie. Show this man some respect. Oregon Ducks stand up. Now, to the Niners. I think this is the week that you're going to see them unleash CMC. It kind of reminds me of when he got hurt a couple of years ago, and the Chiefs went in there, and it was his first game, and they kind of baby him along. He still kind of has junior CMC numbers, But then the following week, it was back to scorched earth CMC. That's what this week's going to be, guys. I don't trust Seattle. Seattle has been horrible this year. They lost games at home to the Giants and the Rams. The defense has not been good when it's supposed to have been great this year. Woolen, the dog, Devin Witherspoon have underachieved versus teams that can throw the ball, and they can throw the ball at home. I know Kittle's a little banged up, but Jawan Jennings is going to be just fine. CMC is going to be just fine. Debo's going to be just fine. Look, Purdy's trying to get a contract too, guys. They're trying to win a Super Bowl. Now that they have CMC back, you got to understand that, like, Kyle Shanahan really believes that they have a shot at going back to the Super Bowl here. They're not just going to lay down and concede to the Eagles and the Lions. They're like, dude, what about us? We're here. We have Thanos back. And I think this is the week. I think they run all over Seattle. Seattle, to me, is not good. Geno Smith is not good. He is Black Daniel Jones, except a little better. Just a little bit better. All they have to do is really keep their eyes on JSN and DK Metcalf. They should cover 6.5. Touchdown wins you money. I'm just not sold on Seattle's defense. Their offense is great. They just cannot stop anybody when you absolutely have to have it. Niner gang's going to be there in full effect. Afternoon game. I see the Niners rolling here. I really do. They're one of my favorite bets this week. I'll take the Niners minus the 6.5.
All right, we have a obviously marquee matchup. How this is not the Sunday night game, I really don't understand, but it is the Chiefs. They're visiting the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills are 2-point favorites. And yeah, I think I'm going to take the Bills. I mean, the Chiefs are just stringing along every week, and I know they're winning, and winning is obviously very important in the NFL. It's everything. It's the only thing, right? But the Buffalo Bills have been playing so well this year, and I just feel like they've really caught their stride. I mean, if you take a look back, they're just, putting up 30 points a game. They haven't had less than 30 points in like 4 weeks. That's unbelievable. I mean, that is a top tier offense. I know the Chiefs have like the best defense in the NFL, and it's really the only reason that they're undefeated, right? If they had even like a slightly worse defense, the Chiefs would like be 500 right now at least, and they'd just be fighting at the top of the AFC West with all the other teams. And I don't think the Chiefs go undefeated this year, and I think this is a game where I'm not going to say it's a reality check, but it's like they're due for just like kind of getting beat like definitively. It's like that 9-0 record does not indicate how well this team has played this year. I mean, it like voodoo magic last week to block that field goal kick. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I mean, this is a game obviously they have circled on their calendar because the Chiefs have gotten theirs for so many times in a row, and I think this is one of those regular season matchups where the Bills kind of get back at home on them.
Last time the Buffalo Bills played the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, I was at the game. I went to Kansas City. That was the day where Kelsey lateraled the ball across the field to Kadarius Toney, and it got called back. I remember on World of Matchups taking the Bills that day and being correct. Now they're back at Highmark Stadium after the Chiefs win 27-24 to go to play the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game, and that absolutely just broke the hearts of Bills fans. I think we're going to see something very similar here. I'm taking Kansas City really for two big reasons here, okay? Number one, Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. I mean, just the numbers speak for itself. Like I said earlier, guys, like I'm not here to get emotional about any of this stuff. Facts over feelings. Look at the stats. I don't care how good the team is. I don't care who he's got around him. Patrick Mahomes, as an underdog, is like 10-3, 11-3, 12-3, and like 8-3 against the spread. I mean, like he just doesn't lose. He does not lose. And number two, the better defense is Kansas City. It's the better defense. I know the Buffalo Bills have been beating teams left and right. They have not been playing teams with decent defenses. They just haven't. And so for those two reasons, I'm going to take those +2. I know the Chiefs haven't played well at all. I am as diehard a Chiefs fan as you are ever going to meet. I watch every game. I will be the first one to tell you this team If they didn't have this defense, and Andy Reid would probably be 3-6. And I can say that with confidence because I just understand how football works in Kansas City. With all the injuries that have taken place, you cannot expect a team to continue to strive with recycle parts and trades, but that's exactly what they have done, which speaks to the greatness of the coaching staff and the mettle and the intestinal fortitude of the players. I do not think last week was luck. I have watched that block kick in 2 different languages over 100 times. That's something they practice. And I went back and looked at all the other field goals that they kicked that day. They knew 54 was going to fold. They knew that guy. That guy's a center. That guy had no business being against Leo Chanel in that spot, who is the strongest chief. They planned for that stuff. And if Chanel didn't get it, Karlaftis was right behind him. And this wasn't even like a jump over guy type like call that should have been, like a flag should have been. It was a straight block. Guys, that is a testament to amazing coaching and stuff that they practice. I don't think the Buffalo Bills do stuff like this. I don't think Sean McDermott is like that. I don't. And everyone is going to be on the Bills here, just like everybody was on the Bills in the playoffs. It's the same thing, Spencer. It is the exact same game. No Matt Milano. You know how huge that is? No Dalton Kincaid. No Keon Coleman. You guys are all acting like the Bills are a picture of perfect health. If Amari Cooper plays, he will have a cast on. Guys, stop. What do the Chiefs do really well this year? They stop the run. Now you have to force them to be one-dimensional. If I'm the Chiefs, I sell out. I sell out to stop Josh Allen and James Cook, and I force them to throw the ball. Khalil Shakir is literally one of the only healthy guys you have out there, him and Curtis Samuel. I think the Chiefs could win this game. Now, Harrison Butker being out worries me. You know what I mean? Because they bring in Spencer Schrader, who is a 68% field goal kicker for his career. That could cost the Chiefs the game. But at the end of the day, I am not ever in my life, ever going to bet against Patrick Mahomes getting points. I will go down with Patrick Mahomes. He has earned that respect from me until he retires. Until he retires, I will never bet against this guy as an underdog. And I think this is game of the week. How this game wasn't flex is an absolute joke. The NFL is an absolute joke. It's a joke. This should be Sunday Night Football. This is what people want to see under the lights. No one wants to see this game at 125. Roger Goodell, fall back and dust yourself off and get your shit together because this is must-see TV and it shouldn't be played in the afternoon. Chiefs +2. I have spoken.
All right. Sunday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals go to the Chargers. This is a 1.5-point favorite for the LA Chargers. I like the Bengals in this game.
Me too.
I think that they need every game. Every time you talk about the Bengals, they need this game. But I don't know. I just don't really like the Chargers. I know their defense obviously is very stout, and they have stopped everybody. But the Chargers have also played a bunch of garbage competition for the last 3 weeks now. I mean, they have played absolutely no one. The Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, the New Orleans Saints with Spencer Rattler. I mean, those are just better coaching just going to win you those games. They've been putting up 27 points a week. They're not going to do that this week because the Bengals are going to have so much more time of possession. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I know they're in LA, but what does that matter? How many LA Chargers fans are out there? You know what I mean? Nothing about the Chargers excites me, and I just don't see them winning 4 weeks in a row and taking out the Bengals and then having a bunch of confidence against the Ravens. It just seems like a bunch of malarkey to me. And obviously, geez, man, if the Cincinnati Bengals had any sort of defense, they'd be like 10 and whatever losses. It's just a generational offense right now. Clicking. Mm-hmm. This is the best the Bengals offense has ever looked, literally ever. It's in the Joe Burrow era at the very least, but probably ever. And they lost the game still, which is crazy. But it's not like the Chargers offense is going to light up the world against them. At least I'd be very shocked to see that. So I like Cincinnati and Sunday, especially Joe Burrow plays just that much better under the lights. He just circles those kinds of games. So give me Cincinnati here.
I like the Bengals +1.5 as well. I'm not saying the Chargers are frauds at by any stretch because they're home and they do have a good defense. I kind of feel like they've played a little over their head this year, though. Dude, coaching matters, man. Look at the impact that Harbaugh has had on this team already. I mean, they were bums before he got there, and I'm not saying that they're world beaters now, but they do look a lot better. But I think they're in for a letdown here. This is the best that I've seen the Cincinnati Bengals offense look since they had Jeff Blake, Carl Pickens, and Darnay Scott. I mean, they're airing the ball out. Jamar Chase is a phenom. T. Higgins is back now. This guy really desperately wants a contract, and he hasn't had that T. Higgins 2 touchdown game this year. I think it happens here. I think Joe Burrow goes crazy. That offensive line just has to do a little bit better job protecting him because he gets beat up, man. The refs don't love Joe Burrow at all. They don't give him any respect. If the refs gave Joe Burrow the Mahomes treatment, they would have more wins because he gets beat up a lot. I like what Chase Brown has done this year. I like Gesicki in the middle. They got a nice offense, and if Trey Hendrickson's neck can hold up, which I think it will, I think they'll win this game outright. But you're going to give me 1.5 under the lights? I'm going to take it because I know that the Bengals could score, and I'm not so sure how many points the Chargers are going to really be able to score here. I mean, the Chargers are winning with smoke, mirrors, and defense, man. And great coaching. I mean, you love to see it. I can't be mad at it, man. I really can as a fan of the AFC West. And I mean, I'm a fan of great coaching, too. I like great coaching. I'm one of these few fans, Spencer, that likes great coaching over great talent. I like to see people get less with more. Or more with less, I should say. I like that. I like the chess pieces of what a good coach can do. I like watching a coach make a move that actually will win a game. That will win a game. I like coaches that practice stuff, situational football. I love how the mind of great coaches work. That's why I love Bill so much. And while I don't love Andy Reid, like Andy Reid does this kind of stuff, it wins games. He changed the culture overnight of Kansas City. Overnight. With 2 different franchises. And you're seeing Harbaugh do it now. I don't like Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, but I think he's one of these coaches like Nick Sirianni that talent wins them games. Talent. Literally, you saw it on Thursday Night Football where, like, a horrible coach makes a decision and the talent took over for the Eagles. The Eagles aren't winning because of what Nick Sirianni is doing. The Eagles are winning because they have Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Slim Reaper. That's why the Eagles are winning. That's why they're winning. And I think you're seeing the Chargers winning because of Jim Harbaugh. That's why you're seeing that. And so I think the Bengals know this is their last stand, man. They lose this game, they go to 4-7. There's no coming back from that. They have to have it under the lights. I love them a lot. If I win any kind of money during the day, everything is going on the Bengals at night. Let's roll. Next.
All right. Monday Night Football. Not a great game, but it's the Houston Texans going to Dallas. And it's another kind of short line here. And obviously, man, if you're Houston, you have to be just sick to your stomach, right? I mean, they're touchdown favorites here. It's like you almost should take the Cowboys because they're at home, but you would have to like arrest me to take Cooper Rush. You know what I mean? Like on a primetime game, give me a break. I think the
jailed.
Texans
If you bet the Cowboys, you should be jailed.
Yeah, this is kind of a straightforward. The Cowboys are abysmal. I don't know what they do, man. I just think they made all the wrong choices this offseason, and they just kept making them. Signing Ezekiel Elliott, making no other moves, re-signing, Dak to $1 gazillion. He's done absolutely nothing for you. It's like, but that's Jerry Jones, man. That is Jerry Jones' world. This is how he operates. This is what he does. Houston's going to play so hard in this game, man. And the Cowboys are playing for absolutely nothing. It's just such a dumpster fire there. They know McCarthy's not going to be there next year. And we're just going to continue this process on, man. They're going to try to say injuries were the reason their season fell apart, and that's where they're going to go. So I really like Houston in this game.
So do I. I don't think it's even a question. Like I said earlier, like if you're betting on Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football, you should be jailed. I don't care what this spread is. It's not big enough. Texans lost that absolute heartbreaker of a game. They need to come back and get this W just to get back into the hunt, make themselves feel about good again about what they're doing. Those 2 field goals, man, that we're seeing on the screen, those field goals from the Lions, those field goals were led by the Holy Spirit, man. Jesus pushed those field goals. I mean, literally less than a centimeter on 2 different field goals going through the uprights. Stop. Y'all can't tell me that God's not real. Look, Texas is just a better team. They're the best team in Texas. They have been all year. You paid Dak, and he's dead now. Now you're going to revel in what you have left. CeeDee Lamb got paid, and he's going to do what he could do. But, if you can't get the guy the ball, what's the point? There was at one point last week where Cooper Rush had 17 for 20 for 45 yards. What are you throwing the ball backwards, bro? I don't care that you put Rico Dowdle in the driver's seat in the backfield. It's not gonna matter, man. It's not gonna matter. Texans have a good run D. God, the Dallas Cowboys are an absolute dumpster fire, man. I can't take them with any kind of confidence anywhere. They might keep it close for a minute, but the real team shows up in the later stages of the game. And I think they get destroyed by at least 10 points here. I'm going to lay the 7, and I'm going to lay it with confidence. Parting shots.
Yeah, I'll go over my best bet ticket. I think I'm on a 2-week win streak, so I'm hoping to keep that rolling here. I know you kind of said that you could see an upset special here, but I really like a pick for the Vikings, man. I really do. Man. I bought down that Texans game, -1. And this over-under was very enticing. I'm not big on over-unders, but when it comes to the Bengals and Chargers, I'm talking about a Chargers team that gives up 10 points a game. Not to say that I think it's going to be a dumpster fire, 10-7 end score, but seeing both of these teams score at least 25, I just think there's no way. I mean, the Chargers have only scored 25 points because they have been playing the most anemic offenses ever. And I know their defense is good, and that's also part of the under, but I just don't see the Chargers making their way up to 25 points in this game. I seriously would be so surprised.
That's another team scoring 50 for them. Yeah. I like this ticket. I worry about Tennessee, though. I really do. My parting shots is shout out Mike Tyson. Last night was an absolute joke of a fight. If you bet money on that fight and you lost because you bet Mike Tyson, you're a sucker, and you should never be allowed to bet ever again. The guy's 60 years old almost. I mean, stop. But Netflix, y'all got to really get it together, man.
I heard there are a lot of – I watched the fight.
I mean, that's an unmitigated disaster on your part. And look, you are airing some NFL games here soon. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing. Yeah. They're playing on Netflix this year. And let me tell you, let some nonsense like that happen while I'm watching the game, bro. Oh, forget it. Y'all got to fall back and dust yourselves off. And that goes for all of y'all. Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, all you new streaming football entities out there. This is the NFL. There cannot be these kind of mistakes like what you saw last night to where all of a sudden you're buffering and because there's a bazillion people watching. Guys, a bazillion people are watching no matter what. This is the biggest sport in the history of mankind. People in Guam watch the NFL. People in Australia watch the NFL. You have to get this together. There's no excuse for anything like this to be happening ever when the worst football game is on. Then you have a high-profile fight that everyone wants to see, and something like that happens, shame on you. Whoever's in charge of what's going on back there should be fired. And I'd be saying that if that was Spencer back there producing that show. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, it was pretty nuts.
It's unacceptable.
Whatever viewership that Paul fight got, man, imagine what a football game is going to be.
Stop it, man. Chiefs, Raiders, stop it.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Steelers, Christmas Day. I don't know when they're exactly airing, but I know they are. And so we're going to give you all some time to plug some things in, to get some duct tape and move some cords around. But whatever it is, fix it, and fix it now. The American public deserves better, and I don't care how cheap Netflix is. That's no excuse to give crappy service. That's it. That's the slate. Week 11, World of Matches, bringing you guys the heat. We appreciate the likes, the subs, the follows. Hoping you guys are out there making money. As always, look, we do this for fun. This is just so me and Spencer stay close and we are man enough and confident enough in putting our picks on tape. Some of y'all talk after you win. We put it on tape, and then we live with the consequences. We've had 3 win weeks. We've had 10 win weeks. We put it out there for you, and we hope that you're winning. We also hope that you're not betting your mortgage or pawning your wife's wedding ring. So if you are struggling with gambling, this ain't the show for you. But if you are still watching, just know that Gamblers Anonymous is a real thing. Like, I've been there. A lot of us have been there. Don't lose your livelihood over a pigskin bouncing around a football field. Until next week, I am Dexter Reed. That is the Spencer the Wiz, making it happen, and we are out.
See you guys.
Have a good week.
Yeah. Have